everybody. Good morning, everybody. We need some call and response here now. I didn't get up this early to just see you sitting like... Good morning, everybody. Are you ready for some resilience and brilliance, brilliance and resilience? My name is Deborah Holmes. I'm with the Women's Funding Network. I am here with Tamir Novotny from EPIP, and we're the opening act before stuff gets going. Basically, we're giving you the welcome and setting the stage for the rest of the morning. So what are we talking about when we're talking about brilliance and resilience? Many of us we've heard a lot of success stories over the past couple of days. So we know what success looks like, and we see people at their best. But often we don't get the backstory on what it took to get there, that resilience. And there's brilliance in being that resilient. And that's what this morning is all about. The whole piece, both the resilience, but the brilliance that it took to be that resilient.
Good morning. Being able to sustain our people in this work and to take the burden off of the individuals who are doing it is a really important part of why we're all here. And so from a parochial perspective for a minute, I'm really proud as ED of EPIP to announce that we're rolling out right here, right now, a new strategy that focuses on not only developing our diverse membership for leadership roles in the field, but also taking on an advocacy and influence agenda to support their success and advancement and to advance equity through philanthropy. So now it's our pleasure to introduce the speakers. Did you want to do that?
No.
Okay.
The voice of God.
Nola, resilient and proud.
The goddess is leaving the stage, but the voice of God is taking over from here. Enjoy the program. We'll be back later.
Nola, resilient and proud. Carol B. Bell from the Ashe Cultural Center, and Greg Rattler from Ceasefire, New Orleans, will come up after this presentation. I'd like to welcome Four Wheel City from New York City.
Yeah. What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? I know it's early in the morning, but what's up, everybody? How y'all doing? We came all the way from New York City.
Yeah. Mike.
Yeah. We go by the name Four Wheel City, and we're happy to be here today. And before we get started, we just wanted to get some energy with y'all. So check this out. When I say four, y'all say wheels. Four wheel. Four wheel. When I say four wheel, y'all say city. Four wheel. City. Four Wheel City. Yeah, like we go by the name Four Wheel City. My name is Tad Waters. I'm the artist.
My name is Rick Fire. I'm the producer.
Yeah, what our mission is to inspire, educate, advocate, and entertain. We put up 4 fingers all around the world for that cause, to inspire, educate, advocate, and entertain. And my partner and I, we both was victims of gun violence when we was teenagers. I was accidentally shot by my cousin, and Rick can tell you what happened to him.
I was walking home from school and I got hit by a stray bullet. I don't know who shot me.
And that left us both paralyzed, and we met by the grace of God, and my mother introduced me to Rick after my injury, and we found out we had this love for music and hip-hop music, and we started making songs to inspire people and showing people that no matter what you go through in life, you don't got to give up. And this song we're about to perform, it represents that. It's called Grit Push, and it's like a remix of Kick Push, and we just wanted to show people our story and let people know that no matter what you go through in life, you don't got to give up. Just keep gripping and keep pushing. Drop that.
Push.
Yeah. One, two, three, four. It's like silence. I guess a moment of silence for this beautiful moment, I guess. But while we're waiting for that, we just really want to let y'all know we're happy to be here. We've never been in New Orleans. And It's a pretty good city, and we're really happy to be here for this, and particularly, and we want to thank everybody who had us here. Y'all ready? All right, so it's dropping. Grip push.
Great push.
Y'all ready? Look, to all my four-wheelers around the world. Yeah. Yeah. Turn that up a little. Yeah. Yeah. A little more, please. To all my pushes around the world. Look. Check it. Check it. Look. Now here's the story about some dudes who wheels were their shoes. They had to grip on them every time they made a move. They gripped and they pushed while everybody looked. All by themselves, too proud to ask for help. They pushed and they rolled with their heart and their soul. Sometimes fast, sometimes slow. Just two brothers in the chair trying to push that and push back careers with no idea how they gon' make it. They seen a lot of words and dreams get deflated. Yeah, but they still kept pushing. Had a show in the Bronx, interview out in Brooklyn. Beat from their man, so they told them good looking. Then they hit the phone, hit the street and start cooking. Song after song made a demo tape together and all to put them on. Every now and then they talk about tap moms, cause she gives them the strength to keep pushing on. Yeah. With their hands on their wheels, they look at each other and say they will. Know one day, it's all God's will. They gon' be successful, they gon' be a record deal. Then they grip and they push and smile, but this life ain't as easy as it looks. Pushing up the hills of life, gotta have strong arms, the grip gotta be tight. And you gotta put on when you get on the mic. In front on your song like everything is alright, but that's life. For a roller, trying to be a soldier, and at the same time still trying to stay sober. Put your gloves on when the weather is colder. While some of your old friends acting like they don't know you. Some of your old girls giving you the cold shoulder. But get a grip, look, your life's not over. Yeah, gotta keep on pushing, keep on going, keep on rolling, keep making beats and keep on flowing and putting on for your city cause you was chosen. Look, it might take some years, but deep down inside we know our time is near. So we grip, 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 and coast. Look, in the way we roll, just rolling, waiting for our time to blow. And so we grip, push, grip, push, grip, push, grip, push, and coast. In the way we roll, just some rollers, waiting for our time to blow. Look. So now we on the grind, it's incessant getting on the only thing that's on our mind. Try to get a deal, yeah, we try to get signed, but them record labels didn't pay us no mind. So we grip and we push and roll out on our own. Started our own label with a microphone, the MPC dream and the common goal. We work hard to stay focused on the yellow brick road. But look, as the story unfolds, the world keeps spinning and the story gets told. Some misguided children all around the globe and individuals in the hospital. Look, a city started being built, brick by brick, piece by piece, block by block, street by street, in the north, in the south, in the west, in the east. Look, and now we get checks when we speak, catch wreck on the beat and get respect from the streets. Yeah, it might take some years, but deep down inside we know our time is here. So we push, grip, push, grip, push, grip, push, and coast. In the way we roll, just two rollers, waiting for our time to blow. And so we grip, push, grip, push, grip, push, grip, push, coast. In the way we roll, we just two rollers, waiting for our time to blow. Yeah, this one is dedicated to all my grippers and my pushers out there, pushing forward in life. Look, surviving, chasing dreams. Trying to make it happen. Now hear me, let me hear you say four wheels, 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 four. Let me hear you say wheels, four wheels, four wheels, four wheels, four wheels, four wheels, four wheels, yeah.
Wheel City.
Yo, I don't know how well y'all can hear everything out there. You know, the sound. This ain't like Madison Square Garden, but you know what? The message is the same, and it's about not giving up. Like, we've been on this long journey. We come from the Bronx, New York. You know what I'm saying? The home of hip hop, and we took music and we turned it into a way to follow our dreams and give back. We have a program where we go to schools and speak to young kids about gun violence and staying in school. We do a lot of disability awareness, and we got a lot of things going on. Shout out to Michael from NDI. We got a mainstream trying to disable poverty out here for people with disabilities and people everywhere. So we here for like the next 24 hours, and we got a table out there with some cards and some CDs if anybody want to support the cause, $10 t-shirts, and some wristbands like donations or whatever. But it's just more about, we just here to offer our voice and our message to anybody who wants to use and need it. We got a lot of stuff. This song is a song that we recorded a few years ago, telling our story, and we got a cool video for it. Y'all want to check the Grit Push out, and we on iTunes. And like, thanks for having us. We are very happy to be here and celebrate unity, especially at this time, and like the country where everything's kind of, crazy, and people have a lot of differences, and everybody trying to find that equality. So we here trying to offer that voice, and we got the music and we got the message. So just kick it with us and let's see what we could do. You know what I'm saying?
Forward.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Fort Worth City. That's not here, but it'll be after this. NOLA, Resilient and Proud. Carol B. Bell from the Ashe Cultural Center, and Greg Rattler from Ceasefire New Orleans. Family with an intergenerational conversation.
All right. Well, we've had lots of talks, and I don't know we've had this much audience before. So we were asked to talk a little bit about resilience and equity. And I'm going to start off by making a few comments, and then we'll just kind of get going. One is that the human experience is grounded in culture, who we are, where we come from, how we experience the world, kind of occurs in a continuum. We're rooted in what we're born into. We bear that until we run into something different. And then we start bridging. And then there's this piece called culture making. And we don't dabble as much there. Entertainers do, Wall Street does, folks who are trying to sell products do, but we don't dabble as much in the making culture place. And so one of the big things that we've been talking about in the cultural community is how do we acculturate equity? Changing systems is part of it, but how do we create a value system, a language, roles, rules, and rituals that kind of go along with that? And that becomes a really major part of how it is that we pursue equity in the community. And so with that as kind of a beginning, let's talk a little bit about how you guys are looking at the pursuit of equity, and what does resilience have to do with that?
Yeah, so Ceasefire is a part of Mayor Mitchell Andrews' NOLA for Life strategy, right? So we target young men who are 16 to 25-year-olds. Most likely they've been victims of gun violence. They've either been a perpetrator or they've been the victim, right? So the way we approach the work is it's an individual basis, right? Mm-hmm. So each young man presents his own set of needs. So for us, like we were having a conversation, it takes me back to those Kellogg pictures. One conversation is about equality, giving everybody the same thing. The next picture is about equity, where you give people what they need to meet the barrier. But we try to do the work from what I call the next frame of freedom, where we use our energy not to think about helping people to meet the barrier, but using our energy to knock the barrier down totally. Mm-hmm. So for the young men who come to us, when they present the challenges that they have in their lives, it is absolutely important for us at Ceasefire to not figure out a way to meet the challenge for the young man, but to help him to be able to meet the challenge on his own, because it's much more sustainable. And like we were talking about, that young man becomes a rock in a pond, mm-hmm. right? So then think about how far that impact mm-hmm. ripples out to his family, to his community, to the young men and young women that he has a chance to influence. So we are always conscious about the equity position that we take at Ceasefire.
So on the conversation of resilience, you know, when we think about resilience, sometimes we think about bounce back. But resilience is like a restoring process that's like perpetual.
Right.
It's not just something that's available when you're in difficulty, but it's something that kind of essentially floats your life. Our bodies, the cells restore themselves, and that's why we stay alive. And so the notion of how do we manage to continue to encourage resilience so that all of our resilience is not used on the basics, you know, food, clothing, and shelter, protection, you know, belonging. That central feature inside of culture is like belonging. And we're not using all of our restorative potential inside of the basics so that self-actualization doesn't become something that we're able to use our brilliance on, right? I think often about Zora Hurston and how she was able to capture people of African descent for sure in our basic sense and see our brilliance there, and how she got pushback even from other black folks about that. And so being able to essentially to recognize and to see the brilliance in everyone and to call it forward becomes a big part of being able to help people to understand that they belong and to understand that they deserve so much more than they have when they're on the outside looking in. And so how do we do our work kind of affirming the existence of people that we find in all kinds of dismaying circumstances and having them to really get from us the expectation that they deserve better, and that our work, our effort, our lives, the minutes of the life that we have are really dedicated to essentially having others to be able to get the fact that they deserve it as well.
Yeah, so there's this saying that we try to guide ourselves by. It is that you look past the condition and see the need. Mm-hmm. So when I had my own personal tragedy, you know, I shared with everyone, I was a victim of arson. My home burned down. And after my home burned down, I was actually in a space where I was surrounded by about 20 or 30 people, but I felt so alone, right? Felt like there was not another soul on earth who could understand the capacity of the stress and the strain that I was feeling. So I fast forward that and I guess extrapolate that to the conversation about ceasefire. It's like when a young man or a young woman comes into our office, I actually see the need that this young person has. So all of the systems that have failed them intentionally or unintentionally, regardless of your perspective, all of the systems that, as a matter of fact, have failed them, we have an opportunity to kind of help that young man and that young woman become whole again. So every opportunity that we have to interface with a young man, a young woman, his family, the school, the support system that he has around him, it's a chance for us to boost that person's resiliency. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that I would continue to call us to is to being present to each other. I love what technology has made it possible for us to do, right. But it scares me also in terms of how, in being able to do so much more in terms of our reach, that we've lost the capacity to be indelible in how it is that we relate to each other. And so I call us to be present to each other, to be mindful of the culture making that we're doing with technology that is in the pursuit of doing more and deeper and better, that we're failing to be present to each other. Because all of those things are very, very powerful. But there's nothing that is more powerful than what happens face to face, eye to eye. And so inside of the matter of restoring ourselves and being present for the people that we're working with and for, I call us to be mindful that we not leave behind one of the most important things that we have, which is connection. I went through this thing where all of a sudden I woke up and I said, oh my goodness, look at this. You know, as in utero, we are inside of an ecosystem that is totally there to serve us. The doctors tell our mothers that she better take a vitamin to take care of herself, because what the baby needs is what the baby's going to get. We come out, we become infants inside of a family unit where everything is about taking care of us. And then we kind of start gravitating away from that.
in terms of how society deals with individuals, all of us sitting equally. And so I want to remind us of the fact that what we deserve is what we deserved initially, that the system that we live in, the ecosystem, is one that serves us. And that's the model, that's the divine model. And that we always want to be present to trying to deliver on it. And that in our pursuit, in our busyness to do the work, we find ourselves sometimes working against the matter of being present for each other and recognizing that each and every person, despite their circumstance, and that's not just the folks that we are working for and with, but the ones that are working sometimes against us, that each and every person deserves the opportunity to be able to sit with respect. And that when we really manage to not be selective in our doing of the giving of respect and that kind of thing, then we put enough of it in the world that we're all able to get what it is that we deserve. And so in our culture making, we really want to be mindful of being present to each other and to people, because that's the thing that gives us the zing and the energy to keep running on to get what it is that we want.
So we appreciate this opportunity to have this aunt and nephew conversation in front of this audience, and we appreciate all of the work that you do. So thank you very much, and enjoy your conference.
Next time. Disabled but not defeated. Donna Walton, Divas with Disabilities.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. Now, before I begin my talk with you this morning, I need some participation from you. I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to begin my talk with a question. And when I ask that question, you are going to answer not a thing as loud as you can. Can you do that for me? Yes. Okay, here it goes. What's a leg got to do with it? Well, that's exactly what I thought when a female rival told me that I was less than a woman because I have one leg. Wow, does she know something I don't know? What, did she fight a battle with cancer that cost her a limb? Now, for a second, I was paralyzed by her insensitivity, but like a fighter who returns to the ring to regain victory, I went another round with this woman, and I said to her, what's a leg got to do with it? Not a thing. Thank you very much. Now, there's another example. When I taught school, there was a young student, 7 years old, second grade, and he asked me, he said, Miss Walton, you know, you're never going to get married. And I was like, oh, my God, why would you say something like that? He said, you know, what man would ever marry a woman with one leg? Again, what's a leg got to do with it? There's another example. You know, when I park in handicapped parking spaces, I'm always yelled at for penalties from people, saying that you don't look disabled, so why are you parking in the handicapped parking space? Again, well, you can't say what's a leg got to do with it on this one, because a leg has everything to do with it about that one, right? Because it's all about my identity. Now, I have one more example that tells about how we are shaped and how the perceptions of individuals look at me and other individuals with disabilities and form their identity or form their perceptions and opinions about their abilities. So then there's another example. I dated this young man when I was in high school before my amputation, and then dated him again after my amputation. You know, every time I would sort of take off my prosthesis, he would get really frantic and he would leave. Now, I just could not imagine why he was so uncomfortable. I tried to put him at ease. I tried to tell him that my leg just got tired and walked off one day, but that just didn't seem to work out. Okay, so the point I want to make is that my identity and individuals, women with disabilities, their identity is shaped around the way they look. And that the fact that I have a artificial leg and I walk with a limp, I'm always judged about that. And so I guess perceptions are imposed and opinions are imposed. And these type of insults daily basically affect the way a person lives their life. I know it affected my life. And so every day that I would have to get up, I know that I'm going to have to confront someone or something that just challenges, why are you walking like that? Or, you know, why are you Well, why are you not using a wheelchair? Individuals always want to sort of place me in a wheelchair. It's almost like they can't connect the fact that, you're walking with a cane, you're limping, shouldn't you be in a wheelchair? And so it's really interesting to me how we always sort of try to box people into places that they really don't need to be. And so my resilience and the way that I've sort of maintained my motivation and self-esteem has been over decades. I lost my leg over 41 years ago, and I've always been on this journey to maintain this positive outlook on life, because I'm at the intersection of discrimination on a daily basis. So I did two things. Well, I've done many things, but two things that I'm really, really proud of. One thing, I've created an organization called the Divas with Disabilities Project. And the reason, thank you, absolutely. And I'm really, really proud about this program, this project, because the purpose of this project is a digital campaign. And the purpose of this project is to help dispel the myths, to discredit and reject the portrayal of African American women with disabilities. So that's the first goal of that project. And the second thing I've accomplished is that I've written a book. And this book, Shattered Dreams, Broken Pieces, which you can buy out there, don't forget, is about resilience, reinvention, and faith. And it's those three sort of elements that have helped me on this journey, living with a disability. And I just know that without those two, I guess, important projects in my life, that I just probably would not be as strong, I would not be as vibrant, and I would not be able to stand here and speak with you today with this confidence that I have living with a disability.